Okay, welcome back. I'm gonna go ahead and start where we left off. We're gonna go ahead and start rendering this out. I'm gonna go ahead and make my grid visible one more time. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and try to render this. Now, to render, I'm gonna go up here where it says Arnold. Select Arnold. I'm gonna go select Open Arnold Render View. And this little window pops up. Okay. Now, in here, right now, I only have this asset. I don't have any lights of any kind. Okay, so if when I hit this play button, you'll notice you won't be able to see anything. Say render, and it's all black. Why? Because there are no lights in here. Okay, that's the reason why. It did its job. It's just can't see anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit stop. I'm gonna minimize this, and I'm gonna go ahead and create some lights. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here where it says poly modeling, go to our shelf, and I'm gonna go ahead and select a plane. Select it. Now you might not see it, that's because our asset is actually sitting on top of it, but it's there, see? So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the bottom, and there it is. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hit, to scale it up, the shortcut is R. There we go. And from the middle, I'm gonna go ahead and just scale it up. Just like that. I'm gonna hit W, quick key for move, the move tool, and I'm just gonna make it right there. Okay, that's good for now. Later you want to create a wall here, that way you don't go into nothingness back there. But for now that's alright. I'm gonna go ahead and disable my grid. And as you can see, this grid has multiple faces, right? All the more faces there are, the more it takes Maya to process it. So I want to select my plane, go to where it says where it's giving me my history, select it there. See where it says 10 by 10? I'm gonna go ahead and just select both of them and hit 1. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Less number of faces, the faster Maya computes. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and go back to where it says Arnold, and I want to go where it says lights. I'm gonna go ahead and select. You know what? I'm gonna do the sky dome first. We're not gonna use it, but I'm just gonna do it just so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and select sky dome. Automatically generates a sky dome for you, sky dome light. Now here, go back to my Arnold render view, and it's reading your perspective camera. Okay, and it's always gonna be your beauty pass. Okay, unless you instruct it otherwise. But in order to do this, you have to set it up. But to test out your camera and your render, make sure it's looking the way you want it to for your beauty pass. You can leave this as is for now. Okay, so in your perspective camera, get it to where you want it to look. Okay, maybe there, and hit play. There's your asset. Okay, now the good and bad thing about this is that this is rendering, and it's I forgot the terminology for it, but pretty much if you move in here, it'll update in here, almost as if it was real time. So for example, there you go. You move your camera here, and because you have this set to your perspective camera, it's moving along with it. And it's rendering along with it. See? And since you have your sky dome light, it's now visible. Okay? But see how you're not really, everything's pretty much blown out. You're not capturing barely any shadows of any kind. You don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. I'm going to go ahead and delete my sky dome light. and I'm gonna go ahead and create my own. So go back to light, Arnold, hit lights, and let's go with area light. Area light, we're gonna go ahead and pull it up. And it's pretty much indicating which way the light rays are going. So to set up your lights, think of photography. This is more photography now. So you want to look at your object. Okay, my camera is going to be facing this way. So maybe one of the things we should do is create a camera. There you go. Your camera's right there. Okay. Let's call this camera, well, for me, I'm going to call it TS Cam. Okay, now I don't get confused. You can call it whatever you want, just as know it's the camera that you created. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and split this side by side. Go ahead, exit the outliner. In this view here, I want my camera view. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit Panel, Perspective, and there's my TS Cam. Now I'm looking at whatever this camera is looking at. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate it. So E is the shortcut for that. Rotate it, rotate it. So as you can see, when you rotate it here, it's giving you values here. So let's do a 180. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead, select my camera, hit the W button, drag it up. You could also move in here, but I don't recommend it that much unless it's just for like certain tweaking. So for example, if you go, see, it's a little bit harder to control. Okay, so go ahead and move it back up. I want that 3/4 view. So maybe right here, here, and then rotate it again. And if you see here, up here, if you want to see what you're doing, because see, if you move this way, it'll give you more, give you less. But if you want to be sure of what your camera is actually going to render, you go here. Oh, first I'm going to disable my grid. And I'm going to go here where it says film gate and resolution gate. Okay, that's your film gate. This is your resolution gate. Okay, so I always leave it in the resolution gate, since that's pretty much what I'm rendering out to. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give my camera in the position that I want. Maybe there. I think that's good. That looks about right. Or you know what? Like, I'm gonna put it up here and then just, there we go. Okay, there we go. I like that view right there. And if you want to see your textures again, little texture icon. Okay. Now, you want to make sure that you do not move this camera. So in order to do that, highlight all of your rotate and translate, and you want to put a lock on it. Okay, so you want to go and select lock selected. There you go. So now you can select your camera, but you cannot move it or rotate it. You can scale it, and all it's going to do is scale that, but your image stays the same. Okay, this is just for visible purposes. Okay, but that's it. You cannot translate it, and you cannot rotate it. Okay. Now, The next thing we want to do is fix our lights. So a good way to do this is to select our lights, rotate it at a -90, scale it up, translate up, move back a little bit. Okay, that should give you a direct light up from above. So let's go ahead and test it out. Okay, it says there's no lights here. The reason for that is because this light is not normalized. So what you want to do, select your light, go here where it says attributes, and see where it says normalize. You want to go ahead and unclick that. There's your view. Now, if you notice, your render cam's down here, but yet you're rendering up here. That's because your rendering is still in perspective. So you want to hit square, and now if you select, there's your render cam. Select that, hit render again, and there's your light. Okay. Now you see all this noise down here. This is fine for testing out purposes. But when you actually want to create your real renders, you want to make sure that your samplings and your subset are a lot higher than what they are at their default settings. Okay, but this is, like I said, this is just for a quick render test. As you can see, we're only rendering beauty paths. Okay, for your actual renders, you want to make sure that you render out multiple passes: your beauty pass, your occlusion, your normal map, height map. Right now, we're just gonna focus just on your simple beauty pass for now. But as you can see, the lights are now working. So here you can change the color, intensity, exposure. For exposure, I always go at a 0.1. You can just type it in. 0.15 for exposure. And then intensity, maybe at a 2.5. There we go. So as you can see, this is now starting to get a little interesting, but we want to create some shadow. In order to create some shadow, there needs to be a hard light facing this somewhere. So right now, as you can see, the shadow's down here because the light is directly above. We want to make sure we create shadow leaning towards the sides. It gives it a better look. So this, just like with this light, you're going to create another one and put it in a separate direction. I can see that this video has gone way over 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video here and continue in the next video.